let's get going. I'll start this off with a thought, and then you all can tell me what you think on this one. We're going to be talking about pre-listing questions and then post-listing. What do you do after? But first, I want to start with a thought here. And Jacob, I muted you, so you can unmute at any time. Here's the thought, and I need some feedback on this one. First, let me know what city and state you're from, because I always like to know. What city, what state, what country? I'm in Los Angeles or Ventura County. Jacob, Ventura County. Woodland Hills. Alex, you're in Woodland Hills and we still haven't had coffee? You know? Oh, hey, by the way, I went to Ragamuffin just about an hour ago, Jacob. And who do I bump into at Ragamuffin? You'll never guess. Here, I'll unmute you. Ask to unmute here. Guess who I bumped into at Ragamuffin?
Luis.
No. Luis on our team, no. AJ from the Backstreet Boys.
No. Oh my God, I would have been there.
Just sitting there, chilling, talking. I'm like, what's up? So anyway, there you go. That's a story for another day. Here we go.
Down the street.
He lives really close. All right, here we go. I was talking to Renee Funk. If you don't know Renee Funk, she's a great real estate agent out of Orlando, Florida, and they do very, very well. And we were going back and forth on mindset, and she got me thinking about auditing yourself. And I thought, interesting. Why don't we start off, everyone, and audit your environment? As we're ending the year, and I know a lot of us work in months and quarters and years. So it's a perfect opportunity right now as some of you are winding down a little bit. Some of you are winding up. Some of you never stopped. It's important to audit your environment. And I wrote some things down before we get into the real estate side of this. But environment audit looks like this. An environment audit looks like it's time to take a look at the people that are around you. Which ones should you hang out with more? Which ones should you hang out with less? What about the books? The books that you read, the books that you didn't read. What did those books teach you? What books should you be reading? One time that I talked to the CEO of Instagram at the time, the guy who created Instagram, he told me, hey, look, this is how I learn things, Tristan. I topic stack, right? And I thought, interesting. That's how he learns. He reads. He gets the 5 books about a topic, and then he just reads those 5 books, those top 5 books, and learns more and more. So what books do you need to be reading more of? What books did you read? What books shouldn't you have read? Tells a lot about this last year. Next one. This one is going to be a kicker for us included. Foods. What foods did you gravitate to eating this year? And what foods should you be gravitating to? What's in your refrigerator right now? What about when you're going showing property or in between appointments? Where do you gravitate to eat? McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, where? And tacos. I love tacos. Don't get me started on tacos, Alex. Next, movies. What movies did you watch? What movies should you have watched? Maybe it was a show that you binge watched and you shouldn't have binge watched it. What's your habit for watching movies or shows? And then music, same thing. All of this impacts us, whether we want it to impact us or not. And then lastly, events and meetings. What events did you go to? Which ones you wish you would have gone to? What about meetings you took? Were those meetings great? Were they not? What did you learn from them? I think here is where you can start looking at your environment. Your environment, all of that put together impacts who you become, right? It impacts you. It dictates your thoughts, your future thoughts. So let's get right into it. Listing. And Jacob, chime in at any time, because especially on the follow-up for listings. Right now, we're going to be talking about pre-listing questionnaire. So anything that I missed, Jacob, jump in and tell me. But pre-listing questionnaire, if you're getting a listing, it's a great idea to ask questions. Like, what are those questions that you're asking from the seller, from the possible seller? The more you know, the more you listen, the more you can tell a better story to your audience, whoever that's going to be, right? The consumer and so forth. So the typical information, and I got this from a book. If you want to pick up a great real estate book, and I still love this book for real estate, it's called Ninja Selling. If you want to pick that up, pick that one up, read it. Great read through this next year. Kind of will set the tone for you. Ninja Selling. And here are the 7 things that I think we should all be asking. If you want to write these down, great. If not, that's okay. Just listen in. And Jacob, if you want to add any to the 7 or in between, here we go. Number 1, once you greet them and get right into it, you've set this appointment to go through questions. They're like, okay, great. Talk to me at 7. It's 7. You're calling. It's like, great. Thank you for your time. All right. So I've got some questions for you. Jacob, have you spoken to another agent about selling your home?
I know a few agents, but you're the first one we're talking to.
Awesome. Now, the purpose of that is a lot of agents are thinking, well, if I ask that, now I'm going to have them question, should I be interviewing another agent? If they're interviewing 0 agents, right? Just you. And the question is important because it's not about whether or not they're going to interview somebody else. The question is, if they are, who are they? Because you need to be better prepared. The worst thing is, like, you just did the interview, Jacob, and you didn't ask that question. Next thing you know, Jordan Cohen listed the other home and you had no clue. It's like, what the hell? If I knew it was Jordan, I at least could have come prepared because I know what he doesn't do and what he does do. Right?
Totally.
So, number 2, are you interviewing? So the first question, have you spoken to another agent? Number 2 is, are you interviewing anyone else? So are you interviewing anybody else, Jacob?
We have another 2 after you.
Awesome. All right. And what, if they say that, I always like to ask, well, what was it about them that you wanted to interview them for? What was the reason?
Yeah, we've known them both for a long time with our family, and they've helped us out with a few transactions previously.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So now I understand that he's got some history with other agents, right? But there's also a reason that he reached out to me if I'm not a friend of the family, right? So usually you'll find that people want to keep those separate, which is great for me in this case, right? Yep. So now I know a little bit more. So those are the 2 questions. They almost look like they're the same one, but they're not. Because one is talking. Have you talked to another agent? Okay, great. Yeah. Number 2 is, are you interviewing or have you interviewed another agent? Number 3, why are you selling? Jacob, why are you selling?
We are looking to upsize.
Oh, nice. And then the normal question is, where, right? Depending on where that question goes, where are you looking to upsize to?
Same area, just a little bit more space coming from, our smaller house here to something a little more pet friendly.
Got it. And if he wouldn't have answered that, my question number 4 was, what are your plans after your home sells? And the reason for this is, like, this all sounds so easy and almost redundant, but you know how many times agents don't ask questions and halfway through they're like, oh, I didn't know that. You wanted to upgrade to move there? Oh, if I knew, I would have been. No.
Yep.
It's important to itemize these, to ask, because believe it or not, you're in a hurry, things happen, and you forget to ask the most simple questions. Terrence says, big part is confidence in the interview at the moment of questioning, to have the pure confidence to know you can truly do the best job, like in your heart. The confidence also comes from caring, Taryn. Like you truly care, people will feel that. There's no hidden agenda. I just want to help you, right? And knowing that you can actually be the one that helps them, those questions they're posed differently. So how long, Jacob, what are your plans after your home sells? What are your plans? You're going to upgrade close by? What are your plans? Tell me, expand on that.
Yeah, we really just want to buy something local. We want to stay in our neighborhood that we love, but we want to get into the next house and, settle down. That's the right next step for our life.
Nice. All right. Question number 5. How long have you lived here? Jacob, how long have you lived in this home?
The current house that we're in, we've been in for 2 years, but yeah, I've been in the area my whole life, so I don't want to leave.
Nice. 2 years. That's so all right. So you've been in here 2 years, and this is where, depending on what they tell me, I either go to this question or I go to the next one. This is kind of like an in-between question, Jacob. But you've been there for 2 years. If you were about to buy your home, what would be some things that you look to fix as you're moving in?
I just finished renovating the entire house, so the next person won't have to fix anything. But if there's one thing, I would say probably new windows.
Oh, okay. What's wrong with the current windows?
They're just the original windows. When we went to replace them, they were back ordered like a year, so we just couldn't get them. And now going through this process, we just don't want to have pending work.
Are there any leaks or does a wind come through? What is that like? No,
No issues at all. They're just single pane, older windows.
got it. All right. So the reason we ask that question is just to better understand what needs to be fixed, right? It's easier for us to ask for them to fix it this way.
Yep.
All right. No, that's 5.5. Number 6. Do you know what houses are selling for here, Jacob?
Yeah, our neighbor's house just sold for 700,000.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. And where'd you get that information from?
From their open house before they ended up selling. They were listed at like 720, and they just closed yesterday at 700.
Nice. All right. So he has an idea. Great. Perfect.
Yeah.
Number 7 is, what price did you have in mind for your home?
1.1 million. I'm just kidding.
That's funny.
I think, yeah, right. Hey, it's true. I think we could probably sell for 725.
Okay. That's good. It's a good place to start. And
Yeah.
what makes yours worth a little bit more than the one that was selling for 700, let's say?
That one was a bit more original. Ours is fully renovated minus windows. So the person coming in wouldn't have to do as much work as they would to the one next door.
Okay. I like that. So here's the question that this last one that we just asked. This one, Jacob, and tell me if you come across this, but when we say, what price did you have in mind for your home? We've had people tell us, well, that's why I'm talking to you. Right. And
yeah,
right. So then at that point, I'll tell you what I do, Jacob, and then you tell me what you do. And here's what we do. We actually tell them what we think. We're like, your home should be around this and this if we've seen it. If we haven't, well, I go, look, here's the range. Let me take a look at your home. Based on what you're telling me, it looks right on. Or, it's a little off, but let me check. I mean, I may be wrong. The thing you don't want to do is bounce around, because they're looking for a response. It's just the same thing when you ask, and I hate this, Jacob, when I say, what's the commission? Right. And you're like, well, it's negotiable. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to be sold. I don't want you to be a used car salesman. Just give me the damn commission price already. Right.
right.
Eric,
So
8%. I love it. Jacob, tell me.
So what I do, I have a pivot method with listing appointments, because you have to really read your client. And I learned this the hard way. I lost the biggest listing I had ever had the opportunity for due to this. Some people are very analytical. Some people are very emotional. So I have 2 different finishes that I keep in my bag. So I pull all the pricing out of my listing presentation, and I keep them in my bag, 2 separate paper clipped folders. One of them will be a 3 option. So I bracket out a low, medium, and high, put them in front of them and say, hey, here's 3 prices. One's on the lower end, one's in the middle, and one's on the high end. What do you think your house would fall under? And whatever they choose, we say, would you be comfortable listing here? Sure. Great. That's for like the can't make a decision, you all on you kind of thing. The really analytical people, we then, you know what I mean? I'll pull the other packet out, which is like the CMA and say, this is, do you have a price in mind for your home that you were thinking? They then say their answer. And I say, well, due to the stats and data, here's where your house would fall in a range. Are you comfortable with that? Just to show
Got it.
them stats.
Got it. That's good, man. I like the variety of that. That makes a
But
lot of
it's
sense.
based on
And
the first 5 questions that you ask, because if you don't ask those, you won't know the kind of person that they really are.
that's very true. Very true. And look, I love that somebody said, and then we'll get to the rest of this. Somebody said, Jim, what's up, Jim? Said, Jacob, too nice, Jacob, on the responses, which is great. But I mean, that's what actually gets us the listings and the transactions. There was one transaction specifically that Jacob just closed, maybe not just, like, what was it, 8 months ago? The 7 million and then 4 million and then the referral.
Yeah, that was
You're the sweetest.
February.
You're the sweetest guy, dude. And this guy wasn't that easy to work with initially, right?
Yeah.
And you would just turn up the kindness notch. But tell me about that story, and then we'll get into the rest of this. You listed their home, right?
Yeah, so I got an online lead. Tristan knows the story, and there's a video on YouTube about it, actually, on Tristan's page. And basically, he's an attorney. So he's a very analytical, let's get it done right now. And he's a very high profile attorney. He had came in as an online lead at like 7:45 at night on a Friday. And I was at dinner. Tristan had texted me. I had already seen it. So I stepped out of dinner and I called the guy. And I'll never forget the one line that he said landed it was, he answered, he said, "Hi, my name is so-and-so. Who is this?" I said, "Hi, my name's Jacob." He goes, "Do I know you?" And I said, "You're about to." And he was like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't know you yet, but like, I would love to work with you. You're looking at homes on our site, blah, blah, blah." And then we developed this relationship to where 48 hours later, we opened escrow on a $7.5 million house, all cash. And he saw the way that myself interacted with the listing agent, who I had never met, but he assumed we were friends for years. And through that, he said, "You really, you're good at connecting with people. I'll let you list my house for 4 million." So I listed his house, and then he called me about a month ago and said, "I have a home back east in Maryland for 4 million. Can you hook me up with an agent there? I don't want to deal with that agent. I'll just deal directly through you. You deal with that agent, and we'll get it sold." And we just closed that.
So here's the lesson on that. The lesson is, it's your job as a business owner, as a salesperson, as a real estate agent, to really set the tone of the conversation. People can yell at you, people can get angry at you, people can get excited, but it's your job to meet them there and then bring them back to a place where you can have a conversation and listen. And I think we miss that a lot, because we always hear mirror and match. We always hear all that. But you know what goes right through all that shit? When people feel like you're authentic with them, when you're real with them and they're like, "Oh, got it. I'm dealing with an actual real person. He's going to screw it up a little bit, possibly because, he's being real with me, but I can put up with that." There's no facade. There's none. And the higher level of people you deal with, the more you'll see that that's true. Like, Jacob's not scared to be like, because I play pickleball with him. He actually does a great job in connecting with people in this way. He says, "Oh man, I'm not the greatest, but," right? And then he's like, and then people see that he's vulnerable. So the vulnerability is one piece that somehow, Jacob, we've removed from the scripts and dialogue and all the things we've been taught through the 90s and 2000s that is missing. And that's what makes us human and connect with people, dude.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is we're taught through and through, like you said, mirror and match and be confident. Don't let anyone know that you're new in this business. And I started from the jump. I tell people, like, I have no problem saying I'm 27 years old. I've been in this business for 4 years. But in doing so, in that 4 years, I've learned from some of the greatest people that I can possibly get a hold of. And I will work harder for you than the agent that's been doing this for 40 years. Yes, they might have more knowledge, but I'm hungry and you actually get to work with me. You're not working with my assistant. And people like that because you're being genuine and honest. If they know exactly who you are, the first thing in our business that everyone says is it's a relationship business. And if you can't build a genuine relationship, then you got to work on that. The sales will come from a relationship. I don't sell anything. I build friendships.
That's it, man. That is the key to that. And it's all in the questions and how you pose them, right? And the demeanor, it goes all down to that. So asking questions is really the most important part of building relationships. That's it. And it's going to be the basis to everything that you do in this business, right? So now post listing. We've only got 5 minutes, Jacob. So post listing, how you handle it. You got the listing. Right now, the market we're in, homes are lasting a lot longer on the market, especially homes that are priced way up there, right? And even if we do a great job, we're still going to end up losing some of them. I mean, we lost a 7.5 million. Was it 7.5 million?
Yeah. 6.5. Yeah.
6, 7.5, 6.5. What's the difference?
All the same.
At that point, it's like, what's this? Anyway, we lost a really high priced listing, but it was not due to us following up. I mean, I'd have texting and calling conversations with Jacob about what do we say next? What's the next process, right? And just setting that tone. So here are some ideas as to what we think you should be doing. And Jacob, let me know what you do in between because you're very relationship based. Okay. We typically pick days like Mondays and I'm reading this off of what our notes are. Mondays, we typically call for updates and then recap with an email on Tuesdays. So we use Mondays because Saturday and Sundays are a lot of showings, open houses. So the call is, hey, this is how many calls we've got. This is how many showings we've got. Hey, this is what happened through the weekend. This is who showed it. This is the feedback we got, right? And we do that typically on a Monday. Then on Thursday, and you can pick any day you want. Thursday call is for what we're doing with marketing, what's been done, and then we email that on the next day. So that call or email, that looks like us breaking down how many. And I know we did this for a few of the properties, Jacob, but with the bigger one with Instagram, saying, "Hey guys, we did this on Instagram. Here are the numbers. This is what it pulled. These are the comments. This is the showings." So that would be Thursday, specifically for any marketing we do. Emails, newsletter, Zillow, Realtor.com. So all of those numbers that we can pull, we then send it to them on Friday. This way they have expectations. Got it. Monday is for a recap of who showed it, any feedback. Thursday is for anything that we're doing on the marketing side that's either bringing in eyeballs or that's showing that we're doing the work. And if we don't do that, guess what happens, Jacob? You're going to get calls and be like, what are you doing? What have you been up to? How's our home doing? Right? But if you set the tone from the very beginning, and you say, guys, look, every Monday we're going to do this, and every Thursday we're going to do this. And we split it up just so you can see the differences. All of a sudden, you start running it like a business and people respect that. What can you add on that, Jacob?
So what I do also, and this is again, depending on the person, I just so happen to have had techie-ish clients that understand it. I share a Google Doc right from the start, and I tell people I'm very analytical and organized. So I keep a list of every private showing we have with their agent, the people's names, and what they're looking for, and the time they came in. It's all color coded as far as like if they're interested, if they're not interested, or where they're at. And then I share that with the people, with the sellers. And I'll say, hey, you have a real-time log of everything I'm doing. So anytime you're curious of like, hey, how many showings have we had? Or who's seen the house? You know, is there any interest? They can just reference that document and it's there for them. So it saves me a lot of time of having to say like, this is what I'm doing and explaining to them 300 times that we've had 25 showings. I can just say, hey, here's the link again. Take a look at it. You'll see Alex, John, and Jim are bright green. They're interested. We have a second showing scheduled. And, you know, Sally, Bill, and Ted are bright red. They aren't interested. It's not going to work for them, but they came through. So I do all the follow-up that Tristan said. You guys, it's fantastic. And I just add that one little feature in there just so that they have a real-time log of everything that I do.
I love that, man. Good job on
Yeah.
That's if we can do that, that's even better. The number one reason we get for people not having a good experience with us or with other agents is the lack of communication. And I know in some cases the communication is not easy, especially in this market where a lot of that communication is going to be like nothing yet, nothing yet, nothing yet, right? But let me tell you, if you were on the other side of that and you're the one trying to sell, wouldn't you appreciate a call or a text or a system in place? Think of it like if you have a disease, right? Like they're trying to figure out how to make it better. And you're like, well, let me take some tests for you. You don't hear back from the doctor for 3 weeks. You're assuming you're going to die.
Yep.
But if they're routinely saying, hey, look, we're still waiting back for the results. Hey, look, we sent it out. We already put in a call. Hey, look, we're still waiting. It looks like something happened on this end. That makes me feel a lot better, like you actually have control over this process. And it's the same thing here, right? So it's a challenge.
A little different thing that I do, and it's just for you guys if anybody is curious, especially with higher net worth clients and stuff like that. If they have kids, get involved with their kids. Like my fiance and I have picked up my clients' kids from school before if they need it. We've taken them to school. We go to their sporting events. So that's also something I include in my listing presentation is like, oh, I see your kids' rooms upstairs. How old are your kids? What school do they get? Do they play sports? If they're in sports, are they in season right now? What's their schedule for their team? I would love to come to some of their games and then show up to the games and like be a part of their family.
That's funny because that actually happened with you. So,
yep. This is all from experience. I wouldn't tell you anything I don't do.
Jacob showed up to one of the. I'm going to let you tell the story, and then we'll close with that. So, what happened with that client?
Same client, lawyer dude. I show up to his kids' sporting events all the time. He sends us his kids' schedule, and then like 2 weeks ago, I don't know if this is the story you're going for, but it's a good one. He called me and said he had a trial that he had to start, and he promised his kids he would take them to the Rams game. So he's like, I have tickets to the Rams game. You can have 6 tickets to the Rams game, my season tickets. Bring whoever you want as long as you bring my kids. And I was like, all right, sounds good. So we got, and we had a great time. We took his kids and it's been a blast. And he also takes us to play pickleball.
There you go. Thanks for being on, man. I appreciate that.
Of course.
It gives us a different take and good clarity. So we'll have you on more often with Mark, and any questions you have, feel free to reach out to us. Jacob, let me grab your Instagram really quick. Let me grab that so I can have people either follow you or have any questions. Let's see, Jacob Steagall. Jacob, there you go. I'm going to dump it into the chat. If you have any questions for Jacob, grab him there. You can see how he uses his Instagram, and it's pretty good. Some of the things he's sold, where he's going, and his personal life. He mixes it up pretty well. I like it. And Jacob, thanks for being on, man.
Of course. Thank you. Glad to be here. Anytime you guys need, let me know. I'll fill in.